everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are doing all things Father's Day, and I will be showing you 4 gift ideas that you can make with your Cricut for Father's Day. This is going to be really fun. These gifts are really easy to personalize and super easy to make. So for this tutorial, we are going to be making a fun t-shirt, and t-shirts are so easy to personalize, and they are a crowd pleaser. Everybody loves a t-shirt. They're easy to make, and there is bound to be a design that will fit the dad in your life. So for my hubby, I did a little camping theme, but you can go with any theme that you like, and I'll show you where I got this file and the other little themes that are included with it. Another craft that I'm going to show you is how to make these really easy and quick faux leather keychains. These are really fun. I love the faux leather that I chose for this. I think it's really fun and masculine. And then I'll show you how you can apply this little clasp at the end as well. Now these are double-sided. They're really easy to make, and you can spell out just about anything using this little idea. So I don't want to spoil all of the crafts, so be sure to stay tuned to see the other two. The other two will be a skinny tumbler. We'll make a cute little decal for that. And then we're also going to bring out the Cricut mug press, and we are going to make a really fun Father's Day mug with that. Also stay tuned, because on Wednesday I am doing craft idea number 5 for Father's Day. It just deserved a tutorial of its own, so I'm really excited for that to come out on Wednesday. So be sure you click that subscribe button if you're new here so that you don't miss out on that one. Alright, let's go ahead and hop into Design Space and begin designing our first project, and I will show you how to do all 4 of these projects from start to finish. Let's get started. Okay, so for our first project, we are going to make a t-shirt, and this is the file that I'm going to use. I bought this off of Design Bundles in a Father's Day bundle or a dad bundle, and there are lots of different themes with this little dad cutout. So this one is a little camping theme, and I chose it because my husband loves camping. And so if you have a different hobby in mind, check out this bundle because it has a lot of different hobbies in it, and it's super cute. So this is the bundle that I purchased, so it has a lot of fun little themes in it. Again, I chose to use the camping one down here, but it has a farmer or farming theme, a barbecuing themes, a fishing theme, and so on. Plus it has some other little images that are really fun. I think these are all the same as the front, they're just showing them individually, but it was a really cute bundle, and for a super good price, at least it was at the time of this recording, so I definitely got this, and it's going to make for a fun shirt. I'll be sure to link this in the description box of the video in case you want to quickly locate it and purchase one. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and size my design. I'm going to focus on the width, and I am going to make this about 9 inches across. That looks good to me. Now you can see that this file is made up of a lot of different layers, so what I want to do is I want to make sure that they all cut in the exact spot that they're located here on the screen. So I'm going to highlight all of them, come down here to attach right in the middle at the bottom of the layers panel, and click attach. Okay, so now everything will cut exactly where it is located on the screen. Again, my width is 9 inches. I'll be using my Explore Air 2, and then I can go ahead and say make it. Because I'm working with iron-on, I'm going to go ahead and mirror my image, and then I can say continue. Then I can go ahead and use the setting Everyday Iron-On. Again, it's going to remind me to make sure my mirror is turned on, which I can verify right here, and then I'll place my iron-on material shiny side down on the mat and get this all cut out. Okay, so that is shiny side down on the mat. I will go ahead and load it into my machine and cut. Okay, so now I am going to weed out my design. So again, with that shiny side still down, I'm just going to weed out all of that surrounding area and leave only the parts of the design that I want to keep on the carrier sheet. I love that the insides of this design are little shapes. I think this is just so well done. So now I'm just going through and weeding out the inside of each letter, which is a fun little graphic. Okay, so that one's a little campfire, and then this one looks like a little pine tree or tree of some sort. Very cute. And then the last one is a cute little camper. So super quick and easy to weed, and a really fun design. Okay, so I am all set now, so I'm just going to bring in my shirt and get it prepped for the iron-on. Okay, so this is the shirt that I am going to be putting my design on. It's so cute. I love the color. I purchased this at Target, and I will try to link it in the description box below for you. But I did pre-wash my shirt. I like to pre-wash all of my material before I put iron on them. So I'm just going to run my Easy Press over and preheat the fabric, and I do this for about 5 seconds. Okay, and that is still preheating, so I will let that get to temperature. And while that's doing so, I'm just going to run a little lint roller over that just to make sure there's no lint on the shirt. Okay, and my heat press is now preheated, so I am good to go. There was a lot of lint on that shirt, so I'm glad that I got that all cleaned off. Okay, we should be ready to go. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my design and I'm going to place it on the shirt. Oh, that's so cute. I love that. Okay, and usually I'm pretty good at eyeballing, but I want to just make sure that I have that centered. So that's about 3 inches and 3 inches. Boom. And 3 inches. Dang, I'm good. Okay, so now I'm going to just place that right there, and my Easy Press is ready to go. So I can just place that right over my design, and I can press go. So I'm going to do 315 for 30 seconds with light pressure. Okay, when this is done, I'm going to take my shirt, turn it all the way over, and then I will give it some additional heat on the back for 15 seconds. So placing that press right back over the design, and 15 seconds. Okay, so that's about good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow that to cool, and then once it has cooled, I will remove that liner. A quick way to get it to cool is just to take it off from the heat press mat that it's on, and it will really cool down if you place it on a cool surface. Okay, that has cooled, so I will go ahead and remove my liner, monitoring all of the areas of the shirt to make sure everything has laid down. And if I notice anything is pulling up, I can just place my sheet right back over the design and apply more heat. But everything laid down really well, so it's good to go. Oh my goodness, that is so cute. He's going to love that. Okay, so that was our first little idea for Father's Day, and now we are going to move on to our next little idea. Okay, so here we are back in Design Space. If you can hear some lawn mowing in the background, then it's my cutie husband just mowing the lawn right outside of my craft room. So he's working hard out there while I am trying to surprise him with some Father's Day stuff. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to create a fun little decal for some skinny can coolers that I found that are really fun. So I found this design in the images section of Design Space, and what I want to do instead is I want to make this go vertical instead of horizontal. So I am going to edit this file. Now you can do this by using the contour button, or you can do this with slicing. I personally think that slicing is going to be a lot quicker, so that's the way I'm going to do it, but feel free to approach this any way you'd like. So I'm going to come over to Shapes and grab a square, and then I am going to duplicate that square so that I have a total of 2. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the square over, and I am going to place it over what I would like to slice away or take apart, because my end goal is to have all of the letters stand apart from one another. As of right now, they are one layer in the layers panel, and you can't move them around, and I want them to go down instead of across. So now I just need to separate them. So I'm going to place my square over the A and D, select both. Now you can only slice 2 layers at a time, so that's why I'm doing these individually, and then I have my other square here. I have them both selected. I'm going to come down and say slice, and then I can go ahead and take away the 2 pieces that come off of that slice, and I am left with those detached from one another. So now I have my D separated from the rest of the word, and I can do the exact same thing. So I can place my square over or under the part I'd like to take away or detach, and then I will highlight both, come down to slice, and then it will slice it apart, and I am left with all of my letters now individual from one another. Okay, so now what I can do is I can place them how I would like them. So I'm going to place them vertically just like this. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of them. I'm going to come up to a line. I'm going to say distribute vertically. That way I know they are evenly spaced up and down in between one another. Again, they're all highlighted. I'll come back to a line and I will say center horizontally. And now I know that they are centered. Okay, then highlighting them all, I'm going to come down and weld them together. And now they are all set to go. So I know I have about 4 inches to work with, so I'm going to make this file 4 inches tall, just like that. That looks good. And I can go ahead and say make it. Now I'm going to cut this out of white vinyl, but it's okay that this is orange. I can just put any color vinyl into my machine, and then I will say continue. So now I will use the premium vinyl cut setting, load my mat, and get cutting. Okay, so my piece has cut out wonderfully. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and I am going to clean the surface of my little can cooler here. And that is just going to help prep the surface for vinyl. So when you apply some rubbing alcohol to the top or wherever you are placing your vinyl, it will just help clean and make sure there's no oils or dirt on the surface, and it helps your vinyl stick better. So I like to do that and let it just dry, even though it's pretty instantaneous. And then I will take my little design here and begin weeding that out. Stay there. Okay, there we go. And then I have little middle pieces as well. So now this can cooler, I will link it below. It's so fun. I actually got myself a matching one that is floral and it's so cute. I'll link it so that you can see all of the different colors and styles that you can get. But again, this is for the skinny cans. So if you are not a fan of the drinks that are skinny cans, then you'll have to get a full can cooler, if that makes sense. So we do love some of the drinks that are in skinny cans, so this was perfect. Okay, so that's all ready, and now I'm going to just size my transfer tape and get this all ready for the cooler. Okay, this is perfect timing for camping and summertime. It'll be a really fun little gift idea that he'll love. Okay, so now I'm going to just press down on my vinyl, turn my vinyl over, and press down on the back. Okay, so that's prepped. Now what I like to do is I just like to place little things around my desk on the side. I know they make really fancy things that hold your circular objects when placing vinyl, but I honestly just like to use what I have around and not have to buy another gadget. Okay, so now I'm just taking away that background and leaving my vinyl on the transfer tape, and then I can just place it right on my cooler. That looks good to me. Okay, and then I just like to rub it down with my fingers, starting in the middle and then going out towards the sides. And then I'll take my scraper and reinforce that with a little bit of pressure. Okay, and then I can just simply slowly remove that transfer tape, revealing my nice decal right on the cooler. Okay, that's so cute. And then you can just slip your little skinny can in there and have it nice and chilled while you sip and enjoy. So that is a really fun and easy Father's Day idea. Very easy to personalize, and like I showed you, it takes very little vinyl, so make sure you grab your scraps as well. Okay, let's go ahead and start the next idea. Okay, so now we're going to make a personalized leather keychain, and it's so fun, it's so easy. I have a full tutorial on how to create these. This is actually faux leather, I should correct myself. So we are using faux leather, and I found a really, really neat distressed faux leather that he is going to love. So what I'm going to do is create my little personalized name that I'm going to put on it. So I'm going to come over to text. Now for this project, I really like to use the font called called learning curve. So I'm just going to type in learning, and then that is the text that will pop up, learning curve. So I'll select that. Then I will type out dad. Again, you can type out anything that you would like. I'm going to use the word dad, and I'm just going to make him a cute little keychain. So I'm going to make this bigger so we can really see how we're designing here. Now this is a 3-layer font. I'm only using the top layer. Whoops, that jumped around. So I'm going to delete the other 2 layers. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect my letters together. So I'm going to take my word, I'm clicked on the word, I'm going to come up and ungroup. What that does is it now makes all of the letters individual from one another. Then I can go ahead and just drag and drop them so that they are connected. Here we go, just like that. And then I can hover over all 3, come up to a line, and I will say align bottom. That way they are all in alignment there. Now again, with them all selected, I'm going to come down and weld them all together. It's important, very important, that you weld here. Make sure that you weld them together. Attaching will not work for this project. You have to weld. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to unlock this, and I'm going to size my design. So I like to have them be about probably about, it really depends. So anywhere between 3 and 4 inches is really nice. And then I'm going to have it be about 1.3 inches tall. That should be okay. I might even make that about 3.5 by maybe 1.5. That way it's nice and big. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select dad, and I'm going to come up and duplicate that. Then I have 2 pieces for my front and back, but I need to mirror this. So I'm going to come up to flip, and I'm going to say flip horizontal. Now I will be able to fold them on one another, and you will see that when I demonstrate it after it's all cut out. Now I use my background grid as a ruler, and I like to place my 2 pieces 1 inch from one another. Once I have that, I will go ahead and select both of my pieces, and then I'm going to come up to align, and I'm going to say align bottom. That makes sure they are exactly lined up together. This is very important so that they line up when we fold them once it's all been cut out. Okay, now that that's all ready, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to attach those 2 together. That way they are always together. They're not going to move around on me. They will stay 1 inch apart from one another, and then they are aligned together. Okay, now I just need a little connector piece to connect the 2 pieces together. So to create that, I'm going to come over to shapes. I will select a square, and then I'm going to unlock that. And I like my connector piece to be about 1/2 inch tall. So just focusing on the height here, about 1/2 inch, and then I will drag it so that it connects the 2. Now in order to connect it, what I need to do now is I need to weld it on. But I want to make sure that this little piece is exactly in the center. So what I'm going to do is select all 3 pieces. I'm going to come up to a line, and I'm going to say center vertically. And that just makes sure that that little piece is centered right in the middle there. Okay. Now, again, all 3 are selected, and I can come down and weld them all together. And now I have one file. It's all ready to go. Again, welding is very, very important. If you need a tutorial on the difference between attach versus weld, I will be sure to link one in the top right corner for you so that you are all clear on the difference between the 2. Okay, so I am all ready to go. This is my final file. So what I can do now is, again, using my Explore Air 2, I can say make it, and then I am all set. I can say continue, and then on this next page, I am going to set my material. So I will browse all material, and I am going to come all the way down to leather, and I like to use the setting genuine leather. If you like a different setting for cutting faux leather, by all means do whatever works for you. Personally, I really like to use the genuine leather setting. So I'll select that and say done. I am going to use my deep point blade, so I will load that into clamp B and then get this all cut out. Okay, so this is the leather that I am going to be using. I purchased this from 143vinyl.com. I love it. It's a distressed leather, and it's so pretty. I think it's really masculine as well. So I am going to place that faux leather side down on the mat, and I like to do that because this other side is more like a felt or a soft fabric, and I'm not quite sure exactly what the material is, but it doesn't attach as well as if you put the actual faux leather on the mat. So the faux leather part sticks a lot better, so I like to just stick it upside down on my mat when cutting. Okay, so I'm just going to place that right there. Now, I always recommend you doing a test cut with your faux leather. That way you aren't wasting your material if for some reason the setting you're using isn't quite working. Now, again, for this craft, if I'm going too quickly for you, I have a full tutorial on how to make these leather keychains. So I'll be sure to link that for you if you want to see how to make a variety of them. And I have in that tutorial really pretty patterned faux leather that's really fun. So now I'm just taking my fine point blade out of my machine, and I am replacing it with the deep point blade, and that's going into clamp B. So I'll just close that clamp. Again, my faux leather is leather side down on the mat, and then I am going to load that in. I'm using my strong grip mat because it is just really, really perfect for faux leather. It really just helps grip that leather really, really nice so that it cuts really, really well and the material stays put. Then I'm going to go ahead and load my machine and get cutting. Okay, so that's all done. I can go ahead and unload my mat, and then I can simply peel up my faux leather. Okay, and it cut really, really well. And as you can see, that is really on my mat. So that is a good solution for getting your leather to stick really good on your mat, is placing it that faux leather side down. Okay, so now I'm just going to really gently remove these small pieces, and then we will get it all assembled. Okay, so it looks perfect. It did such a great job. Okay, so this turned out so nice. Now, I am going to be using these little keychain clasps that I purchased on Amazon. They came in 4 different colors, and I will link them below. This is what I used last time when I made my faux leather keychains, and they turned out awesome. So we have a darker one, a rose gold, a gold, and then a silver one. So I'm just trying to decide which one I think will look best. And it's basically just personal preference at this point. I actually like the darkest of them, so I'm going to use that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to thread my faux leather through it. So you just can kind of bend it, being very careful, of course, but it's also very durable. Just being careful, and then just kind of threading that through there until that little piece is right in the middle. So just like that, and then we can straighten it out to where it goes. And now the next thing we need to do is we just need to attach these pieces together just like this. I love the size of how this turned out. I think it turned out really, really nice. Okay, so now I'm just waiting for my hot glue to heat up. I personally really like to use the hot glue. It's my adhesive of choice for faux leather, but if you like to use something differently, go ahead and do so. I've used it before when making these faux leather keychains, and also when making faux leather snap clips for my little girl's hair, and it's held up really, really nicely. I've been very happy with it. So that's what I'm going to use, but again, use whatever you would like. So now I'm just going to open this up, and for this next part, you're just going to go really slow because obviously hot glue is going to dry very quickly. So I like to just take it one letter or even a section of a letter at a time. So I'm just going to focus on that D, and then I'm going to fold this over and place it right where it goes as I line it up. And I'm just going to let that set and dry for just a moment and really, really set up. Okay, and then I can go ahead and move on to the next letter, which obviously is the A. Now again, you can make any word you would like. In my other tutorial, I made monograms and I made other words. It was so, so fun. So be sure to check that out if you are inspired with this and want to dig a little deeper with it. Plus, it's really fun with some patterned faux leather. I wanted to keep this pretty simple and masculine for my husband because that is just his style, which I love. Okay, and then just completing this last letter, just like so. Getting a little bit more glue there. Okay. All right, and really the more glue the better for this project. If it's seeping out the side, that's even better because then you can seal the edges a little bit as well. So don't worry about getting too much glue because there's really no such thing for this project. Okay, so that is all set. So there is our second little idea. It's a little faux leather keychain on the Cricut, which was so simple and easy to do. All right, let's move on to our final Father's Day idea. Okay, so for this next craft, what we're going to do is we are going to create a infusible ink mug, and we are going to use the Cricut mug press. So I'm first going to come over to this little 3 lines and come to the home section. Okay, so once in the home section, I'm just on the home page of Cricut Design Space. I am going to come down to New Cricut Mug Press, and I am just going to select this Mug Design Setup template. So I'm going to select this. This is where it's located at the timing of this video. As I'm filming this, it may change in the future of where this is located. Okay, so I'll go ahead and select that, and then now I can go ahead and decide on what finish I'd like. Again, I have full tutorials on how to use the mug press and all of these little finishes, so be sure to check out those videos as well, but I'm going to zoom right through this. I am going to use a 15-ounce mug, so I am just going to decide on what edge I'd like to use. So I think I'll do the ripped edge. I think that'll be really nice. Again, I'm doing the 15-ounce mug, so I'm making sure to select that size. So I'm going to do the ripped edge. It gives a little preview of what that looks like, and then I can go ahead and say customize. So it's important to know that once you have your template in your canvas screen, you do not want to do any resizing at all. It is already sized for your mug. So now what I want to do is bring this image in that I want to work with. So I'm going to come over to my uploads, and I am going to select this image right here. It's an image that I purchased off of Design Bundles, and once again, I'll be sure to link everything in the description box of the video. Woo, that comes in really big. I'm going to come up to width, and I'm just going to type in 5 inches just to make that a little bit smaller, and then I'll size it accordingly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it over here really quickly. You can see it has multiple layers. I'm actually going to just weld this all together because I'm only going to be just slicing it out of my template. Now to slice, you can only do 2 layers at a time. So what I want to do is I want to make all of this one layer. So watch over here. Right now it's all multiple layers. If I come down to weld it all together, now it is one layer. Okay, so I love how that looks. It's really fun, and I'm going to bring it now onto my mug. I'll just size that for where I would like to put it, and I am using this little right alignment tool right here to make sure it's centered on that side of the mug. I'm going to unlock it and also elongate it just a little bit. I think that looks really nice. And I think that looks visually pretty center with the little alignment tool up here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to slice my design out of the template, because what I would like is for the white of the mug to shine through wherever the design is. And then my infusible ink color of choice will be on the mug wrap, or this actual teal section. Okay, so I'm going to take my design and I'm just going to grab it in the layers panel right over here. Holding down Command on my Mac keyboard, I'm going to select also that mug wrap template, and I'm going to select just like this, and then I can go ahead and come down and say slice. And once I do that, I can take away both the original image and then the slice result, which is right here, and delete those. Okay, at this point I can also hide this little layer. It does remind us to hide this before cutting. It's just for referencing where we would like to place our design and centering. So I'll go ahead and hide that. And then I will place this right here, and I want to have it all centered on that little back template. So I'm going to select both, and I'm going to say align, and I'm going to say center. That way it's all ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select everything and attach them together. Now again, I do have full tutorials on the Cricut mug press that are very lengthy and go very in depth on how to get everything designed and how to use the mug press. So be sure to check those out if you're finding yourself confused on how to get all of this set up, because those tutorials really walk you through it. Now I am all set to go, so I can go ahead and say make it. I want to be sure to mirror my image because I'm working with Infusible ink, and then I can go ahead and say continue. Then I can browse all materials. I will come all the way down to the iron-on section, and then I will use the setting Infusible Ink Transfer Sheet and say Done. Now I can go ahead and verify that mirror is turned on, and then I can place my material ink side up on the mat and get this all cut out. Okay, so for this mug, I am going to be using this Infusible ink box set that is called Retro Ombre, and I want to use this nice dark turquoise or dark teal that you see here. I think he will love that. So it comes in a little wrapped container inside, and what we are going to need is just that Infusible ink transfer sheet. Now when working with Infusible ink, you want to make sure that your hands are free from oils and free from lotion. So make sure you wash your hands and make sure they are completely dry. So I'll just locate the sheet that I want to use. As you can tell, that doesn't quite look like the color that is shown on the box, but that will change once it has infused onto the mug. So don't worry if it looks a little different. But now what I'll do is just set these to the side, and then I'm going to place my material ink side up. Now this is distressed. You'll see, I'm not sure if you can see very well right now, but there are little white distress marks on it, so I want you to see that before, because that is intentional and not anything that is a mistake on the actual sublimation part. Okay, so now I'm just going to lay this down. I like to bring my brayer tool in just to make sure that it is nice and tight on that green mat. I like to use the green mat for Infusible ink because it just gives it just the right enough grip. And it's just the perfect mat, I think, for Infusible ink. Okay, so now what I can do is open up my machine and place my mat inside and get this all cut out. With my remaining Infusible ink, I want to make sure that I roll it back up in a really tight little roll and place it back into this pouch, because it needs to stay really, really dry and free from moisture so that it protects the product. Okay, so that is all done, and what I will do is just turn my mat over, and I will just bend my mat away from the material. That way it doesn't disrupt my Infusible ink. And you know what I did? I did not change my blade out. So that did a deep point blade cut. So hopefully this all worked out just fine. I should have changed that out. Okay, so now I'm going to start weeding. And now you can really hear birds chirping and lawn being mowed because I opened up my slider. I like to work in a nice ventilated area when using the Cricut mug press. Okay, so now I am just removing all of that surrounding area, and I will begin weeding out my Infusible ink. Now, Infusible ink is actually one of my most favorite things to weed out. I think it is so easy. I don't use any tools. It's recommended that you just use your hands because tools can potentially scratch the ink, and if you scratch it, then it will not properly transfer onto the product you're transferring onto. So what I like to do is just start out by rolling it. You'll just kind of hear it crack. If you don't hear it crack too much, it may have already done so when taking it off of the mat. And then you can go ahead and take those side tabs off, just like this. Okay. And again, you can just use your fine point blade for this. I accidentally forgot to take mine out, so it did just a fine job, but be sure you just use your fine point blade because that does just enough. Okay, so now what I can do is I can just go through my design and I will take out the little pieces that need to be removed. So I just kind of bend, and it's like cardstock if you've never done it before. I just kind of bend and then just peel up those little areas that need to come out. Okay, so now I can also, with this nice slider all opened up, I can smell the barbecue we're going, because the world's best dad is making me hamburgers tonight, making all of us hamburgers. So it's going to be a good night. My tummy is rumbling. Okay, so I'm almost done. I'm just taking away a couple more pieces and then we will get this onto the mug. Okay, so that is all ready to go, and now we are ready to place it on our mug. So now we just need to get our mug prepped. Now the mug I'm using is a Sublimation mug. I got this off of Amazon, and you cannot just use any mug. You have to have a Sublimation mug in order to do this project. So make sure that if you do not get a Cricut mug, the Cricut does make their own mugs for the mug press, and they are wonderful. And they are actually, I really like them because they are really affordable in my opinion. But if you do not get one from them, then be sure that you get a mug that is a Sublimation mug. So that is what I'm going to be using today. And I'm going to go ahead and get all of this prepped and ready to go for my little wrap to be wrapped around it. Okay, so now I'm just simply taking a lint roller and I am cleaning the surface of the mug to remove any lint. This is actually a very important step, so make sure you do not skip it. Okay, and I'm also going to take a lint-free cloth and just make sure that there are no smudges on the mug. Usually you do not have to do this, but I was noticing a couple smudges and I just want to make sure that they don't interfere with the transfer, so I'm just going to go ahead and take care of those so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so that looks good and all ready to go. I've prepped the surface. Now what I'm going to do is I have some heat resistant tape here, and then I also have my design. I want to make sure that my design is in the proper direction. So once I have it in the proper direction, meaning it's facing the right direction, I'm going to just wrap it around my mug. Now I like to do it when the mug is standing up because it just helps me get it all lined up. It's just the easiest for me. So I'm just going to wrap that around the mug, and then these little sides are sticky, these little tabs. So once you have it lined up, you can just stick down those sides. I like to make sure that they are an equal distance away from the mug handle. That's a really easy way to make sure that it's all centered. And then once I feel like it is, I like to place just one side down. So I'll just place this side right here. And then I actually might bring that up just a little bit more. Okay, that looks good. So placing one side down, and then I like to just really tightly wrap that other side around just so it's really hugging that mug very tight. So pull, and then stick that other side down. Okay, so I really like how that looks. That looks really nice. And another thing I should mention about the actual shape of the mug is that you have to have a straight-walled mug for this. So make sure there's no curvature to it. It has to be a straight-sided mug for the mug press. Okay, so now I'm going to take some heat-resistant tape, and you don't have to use the heat-resistant tape, I don't believe, but I just like to make sure everything stays. I just actually place some right under that handle. Some people like to place it all around the mug. You can if you'd like, but I've never really found that completely necessary. So if you feel like anything's loose, of course tape it down, but I just put some right under the mug to make it sure it's all good to go. And then the mug press is all ready, so we can start getting this placed inside. Okay, so the mug press is all preheated. I'm going to take my mug and then I'm just going to place it at an angle and then place it all the way down. For the bigger 15-ounce mug, it's easier just to place it at an angle so it doesn't snag any of the corners. And then making sure that the mint piece of the interior is all covering the design, I'm going to slowly cover and close, making sure it's all covered, and just close that clamp. Now once this lever has been closed, the timer will begin, and then it will also chime once it is all done. I will also bring out a heat press mat and just set it to the side, because when this comes out, we will need to take it out by the handle and place it right on a heat mat. That way it can have time to cool before we peel off the actual liner of the Infusible ink. So while that's pressing, I'll also remind you that if you want to use Infusible ink pens, I have a tutorial all about how to create mugs with Infusible ink pens. And if you also want to create a mug with multiple colors of Infusible ink with the transfer sheets, I have a tutorial on that as well. So be sure to check out the description box below, and I will be sure to link all of those Infusible ink mug press videos. That way you can be all prepared to do that. I also have a video on how to do a sublimation mug with the mug press that will allow you to do photos. So I made a photo collage mug, so if you want to make a photo mug for Father's Day, I have a video on that as well. Okay, so it chimed, so I will go ahead and open up this little lever on the right, just grabbing the mug handle because the rest will be very hot, and then I will place it right over on the mat so that it can cool. Then we will peel it all off. Okay, so this is just barely warm and ready to be revealed. I took a crafting break to have a nice barbecue with my family, and now we can see how this turned out. Okay, there we go. Oh my goodness, how cool is that? I love that color. That is so neat, and that lined up so nice. I love that. I also have to say, this is the second time though that this has happened where I feel like the alignment tool, those little alignment grids in Design Space that they have you hide before actually creating, I don't really think they are quite accurate. I always feel like it's just still slightly a little off. So I might just turn those off and rely on my eye because it still looks just a little off to me in alignment, but everything else sublimated perfectly on the mug. It looks so nice and it transferred perfectly. And then as you can see on the actual Infusible ink transfer sheet, it took all of the ink, so it did a perfect transfer. I love how that turned out, and I really, really love the color. That is super, super fun. Okay, so there you have it. There are 4 craft ideas that you can do with your Cricut for Father's Day gifts, and I think these all turned out really fun. So we have the Infusible ink mug with the Cricut mug press, and then we have the faux leather keychain, which just turned out really, really fun. He's going to love that. I love that rustic leather look. It looks really, really nice. And then, of course, a t-shirt with iron-on, always super simple, super easy and quick. And then, of course, a little vinyl craft as we decorated this cute little can cooler. Also, be sure you're subscribed because coming up on Wednesday, I am going to be making something additional for Father's Day. I just thought it needed a tutorial all on its own. It's super, super cool, and I can't wait for you to see it. So one more additional craft coming for you for Father's Day for additional inspiration. All right, everyone, if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.